Hello, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful 3D flower. At the end of this tutorial there's also an optional finishing showing how to tack the flowers into place a little bit better. To make this pattern I'm going to use a 4mm crochet hook, and I'm using a sport weight yarn, but you can use light DK weights, it will be the same effect, or you can use any yarn and a suitable hook. So start with, we're going to make a base row where your work is built up from. So we're going to make a chain of 18, and we're going to make double crochet stitches into that chain. So what we need to achieve is a set of 8 stitches per repeat of the flowers. Once you made your chain of 18, skip 2 chains, and into the third chain from your hook make a double crochet stitch, and then we're going to make double crochet stitches all along this chain which you made. So we will end up with 16 double crochet stitches once you get to the finish. Now we have 16 double crochet stitches, and we're going to turn our work and chain 2. That chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so we're working straight into the first double crochet, go into that to make another double crochet stitch, and then one more. And this is now the right side of your work where your flowers are going to be. So the next flower will be made into this next stitch. First, what we need to do is make 2 double crochet stitches into this same stitch, and now we're going to work into these double crochet stitches to make the flower. So turn your work sideways a little bit, chain 2, then go into this space between the 2 double crochet stitches, and we're going to make 2 double crochet stitches around the second double crochet. So into that space, chain 2 and make a slip stitch into that same space, and you have made a first petal for your flower. You make the next one into the same space, so chain 2 and make 2 double crochet stitches into this space, sort of around your second double crochet, chain 2 and make slip stitch into the same space again. Now your work is starting to turn, which is fine, that's what we want to do, but just make sure that your tail doesn't get caught behind your work. So just gently pull it back to around so that you can work with it still. And we're now going to chain 2, and the third petal of the flower will go into the first double crochet, or around the first double crochet. So make your 2 double crochet stitches around the first of these 2 doubles you made for the flower. There you go, like that, and then chain 2 and finish this petal with a slip stitch into the same double crochet space, so like a side of a double crochet. Chain 2, we're going to repeat this again, so 2 double crochet stitches and followed by chain 2 and slip stitch. Squish them up a little bit because we need to make one more petal into the same space. So chain 2 again and make 2 double crochet stitches into the same space, just around that first double crochet, then chain 2 and slip stitch. And we have finished our first flower. We're now going to chain 1, and we're starting then working back into that base double crochet row. So just make sure your work is right way round and it's not twisted, your flower is facing to the front, and then you can see these double crochet stitches below, and find your next stitch because sometimes it gets covered up a little bit. So we're going to work into the next stitch and between each of our flowers we are making 7 double crochet stitches, so just 1 stitch per stitch in the row below, and keep going until you have made 7 double crochet stitches, and then we'll make the next flower together. We have now made 7 double crochet stitches. Now it's time to make your next flower. So just to set up this flower base, we're going to make 2 double crochet stitches into the same stitch, then chain 2 and make 2 double crochets into this sideways space, into that second double crochet, then chain 2 again and then slip stitch into this space, and repeat it 1 more time into the same location. So chain 2, then 2 double crochet stitches, and then chain 2 and slip stitch into that same space. Now your work needs to be turned again. You always turn your work the same direction as you're making your flowers so you don't get it twisted. Chain 2, make 2 double crochet stitches now into the first double crochet you made, so it's like going around that double crochet instead of going into it so much. You're just working into the sideways space of this double crochet. And then we need to do 2 more petals, so chain 2, 2 double crochet stitches and another chain 2, slip stitch, and let's repeat this set of stitches again. Chain 2, 2 double crochet stitches, and then another chain 2 and a slip stitch, and you have made a second flower. Now don't forget to do your chain 1, and we're working into this chain 1 space on the next row when we're coming back. So if you want to, you can put your stitch marker here, just that so you can identify this space a little bit better on your way back on the next row, and then go back into the bottom row where your original double crochet stitches are, and we're just going to finish off this row with double crochet stitches. So all the way until the end of the row we're going to just make 1 double crochet into each double crochet stitch from the row below. There you go, we got to the end of the row, and these flowers tend to squish up a little bit, but I will show you right at the end of this tutorial how to tack them down. Starting this next row with chain 2 again, which does not count as a stitch, it just gives us that height, and we're going to make 1 double crochet stitch into each double crochet stitch until we get to that chain 1 space where I left my stitch marker. You will see this is just before you get to the flower, and now we need to make another double crochet stitch into this chain 1 space, and you can take that marker out now, but it's just to identify where that space is on your way back. And then between the flowers you're working double crochet into each double crochet space, just 1 into each stitch from the row below, and as you get closer to the flower you just have to remember that you have to add that 1 double crochet into this chain 1 space just before the flower, and then you skip the flower and carry on making double crochet stitches into just 1 into each stitch until the end of the row. At the end of the row we're doing the same thing again. We're going to chain 2 and turn our work, and we will be working on the right side of the work again. And for the next 2 rows we are just working double crochet stitches into each double crochet, so 1 double crochet into each double crochet stitch. So it's nice and simple, just 1 double crochet into each double crochet for 2 rows, and I will meet you back once you have done this, and we will do 1 more row of flowers together. After doing these 2 rows of double crochet, we are now making another row of flowers. Chain 2 to get the height, and now we're going to make 7 double crochet stitches before we make our first flower. That just makes the flowers a little bit more staggered, that they're not lining up on the top of each other, but one row is just in the middle of the other row. Let me just show you what I mean. So you have the 2 flowers here, and you have this middle stitch, so you have 3 on either side, and your new flower will be right in between the 2 flowers from these rows below. So after your 7 double crochet stitches, we're doing 2 into the next stitch for starting the flower. And we have done the flowers before, but we can do it again together for this row. So chain 2, 2 double crochet stitches, chain 2, slip stitch, and then again chain 2, 2 double crochet stitches, and then chain 2 and slip stitch and chain 2 before you turn your work. So you're now working to the first double crochet you made, or around it rather, and then 2 double crochet stitches there, then again chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2, 2 double crochet stitches, followed by chain 2, slip stitch, and 1 more petal, chain 2, and then 2 double crochet stitches, chain 2, and another slip stitch, and then chain 1 and turn your work so that your flower is facing in front of you, and you can access these double crochet stitches in the row below, and just making sure you're going into the right stitch. And between the flowers we're going to do 7 double crochet stitches, and we'll make just 1 more flower in this row. And to make the flower we're going to make 2 double crochet stitches into the next stitch, chain 2, make 2 double crochet stitches, then chain 2 and slip stitch all into the side of that second double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet stitches, chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2, and turn your work. And the rest of the petals will be going into the side of the first double crochet. So 2 double crochet stitches, chain 2, slip stitch, and twice more, so chain 2, 2 double crochet stitches, chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2, 2 double crochet stitches, chain 2 and slip stitch, and then chain 1 just to finish off, and turn your work. And then we got 1 more double crochet to work into to finish this row. And this is only a little sample, but obviously you can make this much bigger if you just add sets of stitches in sets of 8 stitches to the base of your work. So let's do the row after the flowers again. So chain 2, double crochet into this first stitch, and then double crochet into chain 1 space, which was after the flower, which is now just before the flower. Then skip the flower, go into next double crochet stitch, and we are making 1 double crochet into each double crochet until we get back to the flower. And then don't forget that just before you skip the flower, we need to add 1 more double crochet stitch into that chain 1 space. So just here, just before you get to the flower, you add an extra double crochet to keep the stitch count correct for your work. And then just to finish off this row, just make double crochet stitches into the next double crochet stitches until the end of the row. And then again, once you get to the end, you're always going to chain 2, which is to get your height for the next row. And now this row is the one where we're just working our double crochet stitches all the way across. And this little sample I have just made is also a gauge swatch for Mayflower cardigan. So now I'm going to show you how to tack the flowers down so that they won't be sticking up so much. So when you're doing your row after you made your flowers, and just before you get to that chain 1 space and you're doing your final double crochet, go into the stitches if you're making your double crochet, then find the 3rd loop of your very first petal, what you made, and push your hook through that 3rd loop. Then get your yarn around your hook and pull through this loop and your last stitch as well, so you can now finish off your double crochet as normal. Now don't forget that you need to make another double crochet into this chain 1 space before the flower, which can be a little bit tricky. And now we're tacking down the other petal, so you go into the next double crochet with your hook and find the 3rd loop of the last double crochet of the 4th flower, go through that and then pull through until you can make your double crochet as normal. And then after you've done that, you can just carry on working your normal double crochet stitches, and I will show you the difference between the flowers which are tacked down and which aren't. So let's turn our work around, and you can see that that last flower is sitting up a little bit better than, for example, this one here. This is quite squashed, so I'd have to quite heavily block it down to make it stand down, whereas this one kind of automatically goes down a bit. These are not tacked down either, but I have pressed them with my hand a little bit so they look a bit better. But yeah, but this is the only one that is properly tacked down, so it's entirely up to you which option you want to use for your own work.